All right, you guys, let's jump into this training. So I'm Jacqui Duran, Star Director, and we are going to go over how to create a Google form. Specifically, now you can use a Google form for a lot of different things in your business. I specifically encourage you guys to use a Google form when you are focusing on pre-orders. But just know that you can use these for absolutely anything really that you can think of in your business. I use these personally for the coaching calls. So if you've seen the coaching call forms and you've seen that, pre-orders, you've seen that. I use Google Docs to save all of my templates for emails, things like that, right? So the whole Google platform can really do a lot for you in your business. But today we are just going to focus on Google Forms. So I'm going to go ahead and share my screen. We're going to pop on over here and we are going to do that. Let me just pop you on over here and let's get started. All right, so here we go. You should have, or should be seeing my screen right here. I am already on Google Forms. Now you can get to this a couple of different ways. If you are already on your Google Drive or signed into Chrome, you can get to it from there, usually over here in the little dot playing field. You can just kind of jump to all of the different Google platforms that they have, right? So obviously I've got YouTube, Gmail, all of those things, right? But specifically, we're talking about forms. Forms is in here. You do have Hangouts, you've got Docs, you've got Sheets, which is similar to Excel. Docs is similar to Word in terms of thinking about Microsoft versus Google. Slides is the same thing pretty much as PowerPoint. Hangouts is just a way to go live. Classroom, if y'all are doing any of that virtual school, then you know all about that, right? So anyway, so that's kind of everything that you can kind of work with within Google, okay? So if you just go to Google and you Google Google Forms, it will pop up this website and you can start creating. Now, the very first thing that I'm going to talk about is up here, you will see there is a template gallery. So they kind of start you off on the right foot, right? So depending on what you're looking to create a Google form for, they give you templates that you can kind of plug and play, okay? So you can definitely use that. Once you kind of have one done, that's usually when I copy one of my Google Forms, and then I go from there and tweak it going forward. So same concept, different ballpark, okay? Again, you'll see here, I've got some different things that we've done over the time, some training content down here, a goal mapping form, coaching forms. These were all my coaching forms live. Customer feedback form. There's an Aladdin pre-order form that I still have signed or saved in here, which I could probably go ahead and delete that. And I usually at least keep one pre-order form going. Now, obviously, the more recent one was the Harvest Collection. So that's the one that I had here. And let me just go ahead and show you real quick what that looked like. So you'll see, I've already created this form, right? This is how you get the information from your form. I'm not going to click on it just because, actually I can. I don't think it's going to actually show anybody's info at the top of the screen here. But you'll see at the top, I can edit this in real time. Okay, if I wanted to make a change with this in real time, I could. All the changes that you made are made in real time. This is why it's really great to use the Google platform for things like this, because you can also then get on your phone, and as long as you have the Google app on your phone, for example, I've already got Google Docs on here. I've got my Google Drive on here, Sheets. I've got it. Everything is there, right? So all I do is go to my Google Drive and I can access everything from my phone in real time. So if I update it here and then walk into my living room, boom, I can send the updated form and not have to re-download anything or save anything. Super cool. It all saves to your Google Drive, which is the cloud, right? Okay. So those changes will save. Once they are saved, this is what you do. So I'm kind of jumping ahead a lot of steps here, but I want you just to see the end result. Let's say you've created this form, you've done everything that you want, now you want to send it out. If you come over here and click send, you could easily import people's email and have them do that. I usually click on this little chain link, okay? This is your chain link. So you'll see it gives you the link that you can just copy. I always just do the shortened URL because I like that shorter URL. And then I just hit copy. Now I could go on Facebook. I could go on to an email. I could do whatever and then paste this link in. Everybody's going to get this form when they click that link. When they complete it, this is how, when you go into Google Forms, you will see at the top, see I've had 2 people complete this form. So I can click on over to responses. I'm not going to scroll down just for the simple fact of this is going to be going on YouTube and I don't want to compromise anyone's data or information. So that's why I'm not scrolling down. But you, of course, once you do this and someone fills it out, you're going to want to scroll all the way down, get all the answers. Okay. Okay. But you can see here from responses. So I know I've got 2 responses. It tells me that, right? One of my first questions, and that's why this one's at the top here, is are you a new customer or are you an existing customer? Now, both of these responses happen to both be that they were an existing customer. But again, you can just kind of see this as a snapshot. I love having that as a first question because that initially tells me exactly where I've hit in my target marketing, okay? Am I targeting to my current customers, or is this a brand new customer who found me and now I can move on and create that relationship and build that relationship there, right? It's just the way that my mind works. Now, I can also click on question here, and you can see that I can actually flip through. There's 13 total questions on my Google form, and I can flip through each one individually. I'm not going to, but you can click on individual. And let's say this said 12 instead of 2, right? If I click on individual, it will show me each person's form in full, right? And I can just toggle to each one as I go and get those responses back. So let me go back to the questions. Again, here's the questions that I have. And then I also at the end, this kind of goes with all of my forms, is I always ask them if they're interested in a Scentsy social, and I have the linear scale there. And then, are you interested in joining Scentsy? So I'm always looking to see who is interested in hosting a party for me, and I'm always looking to see who might be interested in joining my team. These are 2 things that you're going to see if you're one of my customers and watching this. But on every single form that I have a customer complete, these 2 are always the last questions. Always, 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 always. So those are there. Let's go ahead and look at the more recent form that I have. We have our Disney Villains warmer that is coming out. Hello. All right, super excited for this one. So how I created this is I actually just used my pre-order for my harvest in this case. Prior to that, I was using the Aladdin and just moving everything forward and changing everything. So this is what my Disney Villains pre-order looks like. And this is what I'm currently sending out to my customers. What are the last 2 questions Jacqui asks in every single form? Yeah, you guessed it. These forms are pretty much the same, except of course this one just has the villains information on it, whereas the other one had the harvest brochure information on it, okay? Pretty much everything is the same. Now, I'm actually gonna show you how to create one. So we're gonna use this as a template, and I'm gonna create a mock one for you, okay? This is totally pretend. All right, so let me just go ahead and click on this, and you'll see how it looks different than what we were looking at before, right? This is because I'm in editing mode, okay? I want to actually just make a copy of this. So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna come down, click on that in there. I'm gonna come over here to my drop down. That's what those 3 dots are there. Make a copy. Okay, so from here, I could print this out if I needed to, anything else that I wanted to do, right? Trash it, whatever. That's what I usually do once I'm done, which is what I need to do with that Aladdin one on here. I'm just gonna make a copy. So this is what I do once I've already had one done. And I'm going to call it test, because that is exactly what it is. But if I was doing this for something else, I could call it something different. This has everything that I need in it already here. Okay, so all I have to do is now change everything that's here. Now, let me go ahead and go back, and we're going to actually create a new one from the beginning. Okay, so once you have one, you're good to go. All you have to do is update it with what you have. Let's create a new one. All right, so the template that I use is the order form template. So that's what I'm going to use here in this test. If I come up here, everything is editable. Yeah, editable. I can do it a couple different ways. I usually will customize this confirmation message. So after they complete the form, it gives them automatically this little confirmation message. So I encourage you to do that, to go in there and do that. You can also make this a quiz if you're using it for something like that. But definitely go in there and take a look at that. Here with the little artist palette is where we can customize our themes. So these are images that Google has already given us, right? So these are just our stock photos. So you could use anything from there. You can choose from the different categories depending on what you're doing. If you want to actually upload a specific picture, of course you could do that. Browse your pictures that you've got on file. Any photos that you have previously uploaded will be here as well. Let's say we're doing one for Poppy the Bear, and that is what I'm working on right now. Let's just do her little, there we go. So I'm just gonna click done, and there you go. So that's how you get that header right there, okay? From here, you can change the theme color, whatever you wanna do, okay? Change the background color, depends on how creative you really wanna get. You also have an option of font over here. Again, depends on how creative you wanna get. Okay, all of these are able to be edited. Okay, so we're just going to say this is a pre-order Poppy the Bear. Obviously this is not, but this is where you would fill in the information about your pre-order. Now, caveat, if you are sending this in a one-to-one communication, meaning this is an email or a text, you're sending this link in a text or a message or whatever, right? You can put personal specials here. So if for some reason or whatever for your business, you decided you wanted to run a personal special, feel free to put that in here. You can, okay? As long as you keep that as a one-to-one communication. If you copy this link and put this link on your Facebook or your VIP group or anything like that that could be construed as a public forum, this would be out of compliance if you have a personal special in this field. So again, with compliance, just keep that in mind. Excuse me. I had some spicy jalapeno dip. All right, so now we can start really looking into our questions. And I'm just going to show you a couple here just to get you started. Again, I keep this as my #1 question. You can make this multiple choice. You can make it a checkbox. You can make it, here's that linear scale that's rating it from 0. I usually do 0 to 5. The 0 being never heard of Scentsy to Scentsy addict, right? So you can see how you can make that a linear scale, right? Where do they fall in the scale from 0 to 5? Maybe they've only ordered it a couple of times, so maybe they would add like a 1 or a 2 there. Maybe they're a Scentsy addict. They're like, oh my gosh, I have to have Scentsy every single month, right? They would fill that in, whatever. You can make each field required or not required, okay? So if you want to make sure they're filling out every single field, then make it required. Make each one required. You can toggle all of them differently depending on what information you're trying to get. At this point, I could delete this if I didn't like that question. I could duplicate this question and then add on, right? I can do all of that. If I want a description in there, and again, where I can do the multiple choice. Maybe I want them, maybe the question I'm asking them is, what is your favorite product? Oops. Right? So I want them to actually type something in, right? I can make that be a short answer. So it will actually allow them to type in a short answer, or if it's going to be a longer answer, then you just use paragraph. Okay. Now we're going to move on to the next one. We're going to keep that one required. Let's move on to this one. There's check boxes. Let's make that required too. Okay, you get the point, right? I can kind of go down here. I can now add pictures again from my camera. Oh, I don't need to do all that. But I can upload directly from a file on my computer that I've saved. That's where I get like the Disney villains picture that I showed right in that one. Fill that in there. I can even add a little image at the end of every question. Again, depends on how fancy you want to get with this, okay? Once you are done, notice up here, it says all changes saved in Drive. Again, remember, there's no save. Do you see a save button anywhere? No, that's because this is saving in real time. So if I just click the X out of this right now, this is gonna be saved in my Google Forms, okay? So it's there, I don't do anything. If I wanna change the name of this, maybe I would say Poppy, I'm gonna call it Poppy Test for now, just so I know so I can delete it later. But that's what's in my Google Forms. Now, if I wanna go to home, right? Let's say I'm done now, right? I wanna go to home. You'll see again in real time. There's that test that we made earlier. I wanna delete that, right? So I'm gonna tap on that one there, hit remove. That's gonna just move it to the trash. Once it's in the trash, it's trash, okay? So don't trash it unless you're really ready to trash it. But here's that Poppy the Bear. That's the test one we just did. So you see, when I click on it now, it looks like I could send this out to somebody if I wanted to. Click over here to send. I'm gonna go ahead and get the link, shorten the URL, hit copy. Now I'm ready to paste that wherever I wanna paste it and have people complete this form. When they complete it is when I'm gonna come back there and click on responses, and that's where I'm gonna see the people who have completed the form. Okay, that's the only way you're gonna know when someone completes that form is to come back here to your Google Form Drive. Okay, you see all the other forms that I've got on here, right? So I would just have to remember to come back here and click in to see, do I have any responses? This is what I work from, okay? So when I'm following up with customers, when I've sent out a pre-order form, this is what I'm checking, is to see if there's responses and have I responded to them. Now, my message on this, let's see if it does, it should. No, it doesn't. I usually have a confirmation message in there. I don't know why. Oh, because I didn't do it on, I think I changed on this one because I was doing training. Sorry, that's why. But on my villains one, I know it's there. So what I do is I give them a little information on the presentation. So that is my information there. You can see this is what I do is I send them a confirmation message letting them know that once it has been received and confirmed by me, I'm going to send them an email letting them know. Okay, that's my way of just providing good customer service to let them know, hey, I've seen your pre-order. I am going to process it for you and be awaiting further information. Now, also, one thing I am going to touch on very quickly, because again, you guys can fill all these things out and get as detailed as you wanted to, add as much as you want to. But the main things that I'm looking for is to not only get what they want to pre-order, but I'm also getting all of their information so I don't have to ask them for it again. Okay, this is my way of getting their information so I don't have to re-ask another question. I want to try and shorten as many touch points with my customers as I need to, because they don't want to be spending all their time filling things out. Nobody wants to do all that. Now, I do ask them in my pre-orders specifically, and then even if it's just a regular order and I've created an order form, but I will ask them which payment method they prefer. So I do recommend that you guys kind of put something in there when it comes to payment, because they're going to want to know, right? How am I paying you for this? How do I send you the money, or what do I do with this, right? I usually include, these are my main sources for payments. Venmo is my favorite. PayPal is my second, and Cash App. And then I always leave other, because some people may not want to or do not feel comfortable putting their information through those services. That is perfectly fine. I understand that. That's why I leave the other option there. So if they say credit card, contact me or call me to get my credit card, I will most certainly do that. Maybe they're local and they just want they want to pay in cash, right? They could put that cash, right? And then I would know when I'm looking at the responses how I'm going to actually collect that money. Another point that I will touch on, for one, if you're going to do one of those payment options, then definitely make sure that the email that they provided above is the same one that is for their payment method. So I make them refill out their email here. I don't know about you guys, but I do know customers use different emails for different things. So even though this is the email I've sent them the format, this may not be the one, bless you, that is associated with their PayPal or their Venmo. So then I can make sure that that's where I'm actually sending the payment request, right? I try to be very specific and answer these questions ahead of time. So I put this in here, and this is very vital information, again, just for customer care, but also for you as a consultant, okay? If you're doing pre-orders, you need to make sure that they understand the fact that you're gonna wake up, if it's early, to wake up and put their pre-order in, or when this goes live, you're gonna be sure to put this in for them, right? That's the whole point of a pre-order. But what happens if you wake up at 3 a.m., and that's the time that it releases, to put it in, and by the time you get it in, it's sold out before even you've gotten to be able to do it, right? What do your customers need to know about that? Well, this is why I put this in here. And again, I only change the dates and then what the LTO is. So before submitting this form, you agree to pay for your invoice no later than, in this case, this is for the Disney villains, this is what I'm cutting off as my payment date, right? Because, and I will tell you from experience, because when I was a young Scentsy consultant, I was like, oh, you want this? Don't worry about it. I'll just order it for you. You pay me back on Friday when you get paid. And then on Friday, it would roll around and be like, hey, okay, so I put that order in for you. I wanted to go ahead and collect your payment now. Oh, I'm so sorry. I forgot I had this bill being paid. Or, oh, I'm so sorry, my check was short, or whatever the reason is, right? And then who's out the money? Don't do that to yourself, please. Learn from my mistakes. Do not do that to yourself. We are in this as a business, okay? So I am more than happy to extend this deadline if I need to for a customer, but this is when I need their payment by in order for me to make sure that I've got them on my list of who I'm inputting orders for on the release date, because this is a limited time offer, right? So I usually put it a little bit before, and then if your payment is received after, and I put that as the release date. So the payment due date is usually before the actual date that it releases. Simply because I am prepared as a good consultant, right? I got my good consultant hat on, and I've got everything I need to be able to place their order on the date it releases, which in this case happens to be October 26th. So that's why I need their payment by the 16th. I'm giving them 10 days to get that payment to me. And then there's a 10-day window. So maybe they don't get paid until the 18th, whatever, I don't know, right? I can be like, no problem. That's fine. Just make sure you get it to me by no later than the 26th. Because I tell them, if your payment is received after October 26th, which happens to be the release date, the day that these go live, you realize that in this case, again, this is where I would change the wording, right? This one is Disney Villains Collection, your LTO. items are only available while supplies last. If the items you're requesting, maybe I should fix my grammar there, maybe that sounds weird, are sold out. Let me just do that now before I forget because it's driving me nuts. Are sold out, your payment will be refunded via the payment method you provided, and you will receive confirmation via your contact method. So what is that telling them right then and there? That is telling them that, hey, I'm going to try and place your order. But remember, these are while supplies last. So even though I might have woken up at 3 o'clock, maybe they sold out so quick that I didn't get it in. I'm not going to keep your money. I am simply going to refund you your payment via whatever method you paid me in. If it's cash, I'm going to give you back your cash. If it's Venmo, I'm going to send you a payment back through Venmo, right? So however they do it, I try and keep it simple, right? And then of course, I'm also going to email them or text them, whatever it is, whatever contact method they've given me. If it was, hey, only contact me via text, then I'm going to text them. I'm so sorry. I hate to be the bearer of bad news, but unfortunately I was unable to get this order in for you, whatever, right? And I make them agree, yes or no. They understand the rules going into the pre-order. And these are just my personal rules. This is not Scentsy rules. This is not a Scentsy pre-order, okay? So this is different from our NFL. This is different from the child. This is different from whatever else that they might be doing that Scentsy is actually doing the pre-orders for. This is a pre-order that I am personally running as a consultant to be able to give my customers good customer care and get their orders in a timely manner. So they don't have to wake up at 3 a.m. to do it or whatever time, right? And to make sure that they're getting what they want. So that is how we do a Google form, especially when we are talking about it in more of like that pre-order format. Again, though, have fun with Google Forms. You can do so many different things when it comes to Google Forms. Like I said, I personally use mine for my coaching forms. I think coaching is a big thing if you are a leader, meaning you at least have one team member or more. I think that you should be utilizing coaching forms because not only will it keep your team members on track, it will help you when you are talking with them. So you have something, if you print them out, because you can print here from Google Forms, right? If I wanted to print that form, I print it out if I wanted to, right? Put it in a binder if you're a paper person. I personally am all digital, so everything for me is on my iPad. And then what I do is I actually import that into my Google or into my Good Notes app because that's what I use on my iPad, and that's how I work my coaching calls. So this hopefully has answered the majority of your questions when it comes to Google Forms. They're super easy. And before you know it, once you've done like one or two, you are going to feel like, oh, I've got this, right? It's super user-friendly. It guides you through, and you can, like I said, kind of perfect these over time. You're going to find that there's things maybe you want to add that I haven't even thought about that would work for you better in your business. So just really personalize these to you and what works for you and how you communicate with your customers, okay? This is truly just an example of how I do mine. So I hope that that has helped you and given you a little bit of direction to go in.